Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Ending Physician Overwhelm. I'm so glad that you're here. Before we get started with our topic for today, I just wanted to pause and read a review of the podcast that I found on Apple Podcasts. This is from Carolyn Brown 1, and she says, "Free coaching, 5 stars. Love this podcast. It's like free coaching. Dr. Mello's experience shines through were her insight, kindness, and real solutions." That one just tickled me. And I just wanted to recognize that so many of the physicians that I end up working with have been longtime listeners of the podcast. Long time. It's all relative, right? The podcast has been going for about 2.5 years now, right? So there's lots of binging that one can do to catch up. But just to share that when you actually take the time to implement some of the strategies that you hear me talk about on the podcast, it's a way to make your life feel better, which is, of course, the whole point of why I bring this to you. But I'll also share that there are many people who end up coming to me for coaching, sign up for one-on-one or for one of my groups because they find that they love these good ideas, and where we struggle is often with the implementation. So when we are working directly with one another, that is where we can start to have, kind of the accountability partnership where we can break down barriers and obstacles that you're facing in your life and sometimes really drill in, like, what are the underlying thoughts and beliefs that are keeping you stuck, even though you know you would like to make some changes. So I'm just going to throw that out there. And as always, if you are interested in considering coaching for yourself and finding out the work that we can do together, please feel free to reach out. You can reach me at megan@healthierforgood.com or at my website, which is www.healthierforgood.com. Okay, enough of that. We are going to be talking today about exercise. Now, the point of this discussion is not to belabor all the long-term benefits of exercise. As physicians or other people in healthcare or humans who read anything at all in social media or popular magazines or anything like that, we know that exercise is good for us. I don't think anybody would argue with that. And yet for so many people, it is a real struggle to actually put that into their lives. Now, this is true for nearly all of the physician clients that I work with. It's certainly been true in my life and nearly all the patients I work with, right? It's really quite common to have a struggle in figuring out, how do I be active? How do I keep motivation? How do I keep this habit going? Especially if it's not something that naturally lights me up or doesn't seem to anyway. And I'm going to share some perspectives. Now, there are some of you listening who naturally love exercise, and you know that you always have. I always think about runners. If you identify strongly as a runner, much of the time, once you discovered a love of running, you just kept going. Now, you may have hit some bumps, of course, as everybody does, but I've found in my life that people who identify as runners, they really have a strong, strong pull towards running. There is something not religious about it, but perhaps spiritual about it. There are benefits that they get that make them want to strap on their shoes and get out the door on a regular basis. Now, lots of us, myself included, are not that way. Have I run for exercise in the past? Yeah, I have. And it's kind of not the ideal exercise for my body, and that's okay. But for much of my life, so this is the experience that we're gonna sort of come from. For much of my life, exercise was that thing that you should do or I should say, it was something that you did to fix your body. And I know I'm not alone. And the point of our discussion today is not to focus on bodies or weight struggles or diet culture. Again, if you listen to last week's podcast where I talked about nutrition, my goal is not to belabor that side of things, because I know that so many of us have carried around this notion that exercise is the thing that we do to fix our bodies, right? To fix the parts of our bodies that we don't like. And it has had sort of this punitive element to it very frequently. And this is a very real phenomenon that exists. I have certainly some patients that I work with who specifically don't exercise because exercise triggers restrictive thoughts and patterns in their brains that really creates a lot of struggle. It's very easy for them to fall into overly restrictive patterns where they tell themselves they have to do a certain amount, where there's a lot of negativity associated with it, not unlike people fall into with dieting, right? So there's some activity burnout, if you will, that is particular to toxic messaging around how to fix your body. So that is not the focus for today. But if you come from that perspective where exercise has always been this thing, again, either that you should do or the thing that you do to fix your body, and it always has been something that was not enjoyable, I'd like you to listen in, because I think this conversation really is for you, and I want to offer you a different perspective. All right, so let's talk about short-term benefits of exercise. So again, if you've been on the planet for more than a hot second, you are familiar with long-term benefits of exercise, right? We've got cardiovascular health, we've got metabolic health, we've got mental health, we've got longevity, right? There are lots of things that we know from medical evidence that are better with exercise. So, yep, those things are true. And yet, a lot of those things aren't terribly motivating to us in the moment, right? We don't tell ourselves, well, I got to get up so that I live to be 100. I got to get up and lift some weight so I live to be 100. That goal is too far away. And when you are dealing with all of the things that are on your plates right now, all of the work stuff, all of the home stuff, all of the relationship stuff, you at age 100 seems so far away, it's not relevant to anything, and everything else will take its place. So we're not focusing on those long-term benefits here, even though we know that they are there. Today, I am going to share with you, though, 3 different benefits to exercise that we can appreciate more acutely, if not in the moment, then shortly thereafter. And you'll see the theme here as we get to our last one, especially of how this really folds into the whole theme of what I'm talking about all the time, right? Our work on boundaries and people pleasing and perfectionism, and how that interacts with burnout. So, number one benefit that I want you to be aware of when it comes to exercise and physical activity and moving your body, right, is that you are going to feel good after, and usually pretty soon after. Now, we may get sore and we may be tired, and I'm not talking about us pushing through exercise, in a punitive, aggressive way that we're going to get injured. And if you haven't been moving your body for a while, don't do the thing where you go and you decide you're going to run for an hour and then you hurt yourself. Let's not do that. Okay, we've all seen how that plays out. When you move your body, right? When you go out for a walk, when you play in the pool with your kids, when you try a new hobby, I've had aerial yoga on my list, paddleboarding looks fun, right? When we find ways to move our body, we will feel good. And usually that's pretty good in a short period of time. Now, we can walk out and talk about the science of the endorphins and, if there's anything that's kind of a competitive component to what you're doing, right? We might have dopamine flowing and all of those neurochemicals. But let me just ask you how you feel after you complete a workout. And again, let's set aside, jumping in too hard, too fast. I'm just talking about a regular physical activity that you do. How do you feel afterwards? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel satisfied in some way? Do you feel proud of yourself? Do you feel strong? Do you feel like you're able to sleep better, right? There are lots of short-term benefits. And I want you to reflect on, sometime recently where you were active, did you regret it? When we are in the space of debating with ourselves about whether we're going to actually do the workout, right? Maybe it's on our calendar. Maybe we know we quote unquote should do the workout. Maybe there's an exercise class or something that we're supposed to go to, and we're in that place of like, I don't really feel like it. I'm not sure if I should or can. I'm kind of tired. I had a tough day. Has there been a time where you chose to do the exercise and you regretted it? I don't come at that from a negative place, and I don't believe that we ought to push ourselves if we are really, truly not feeling well, right? If you're very, very exhausted and sleep deprived, as you probably sometimes are, if you're sick and you're feeling pretty run down and you think that, pushing yourself hard is going to be the answer, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about when you're just feeling kind of sluggish, kind of tired, kind of cranky, and you're not sure if you're going to complete the workout, but you do. How do you feel afterwards? Do you regret spending your time doing that? In my experience, that's pretty rare. And I think that's true for many of us. Reach out to me if that's not been your case, right? But for most of us, when we actually spend the time to do the exercise, we will feel good afterwards. And I want us to really hear and reflect on that, because sometimes we will let all of the thoughts and all of the, I don't want to, get in the way. And more often we will regret not actually taking the time to exercise than taking the time to move our bodies in some way. And if that is going to help you get out and do some movement, even if it's quote unquote just going for a walk, do it. Do it to feel good. Do it to fix your mood when you're feeling pissy or sad, right? Do it to spin on some thoughts if you need to. But move your body because you're going to feel good. All right, number 2. When we take the time to exercise, move our bodies, plan for physical activity, that is going to beget other self-care behaviors that is also going to create a train of helping you to feel better, right? When we exercise, we are more inclined to make healthier eating. Is that 100%? No, but there is a trend there. When we take the time to exercise, we may also take the time to relax in a warm bath or take a really good shower, to be more present in our life. When we are making the choice to take care of our bodies, we are more likely to make other choices that lead us to take care of our bodies, right? If I see that my exercise, and again, I've talked about this, I don't know how many times now, when I get up and I go for my walk in the morning, even if I don't do any other activity, if I don't do, a strength workout or anything, when I wake up and spend the time by myself walking, listening to podcasts. I have a lot of thoughts. I jot myself a lot of notes about things that I'm thinking about or interested in. When I do that, I am a better mom when my kids wake up. I get through the morning, rush of activities better. I am happier and more alert as I start my workday. And I will overall sleep better. I will do all of the things because I don't feel like a slug, right? When I'm not exercising, I am more prone to do other things that don't really help me, like stare at YouTube videos or be on my phone. But when I'm taking the time to exercise, that energizes me, it pushes me. Like I said, it helps me to be more patient. There's lots and lots of benefits, and they're really all tied. And it's not just, the endorphin experience of moving my body. It's that I hold that time for myself as really sacred. And I see the importance, I connect and I connect certain experiences with the time I take to take care of my body. And I consider it, part of my mind, part of my spiritual practice even. It all feeds into habits that support my well-being. And I think you'll find that as well. As you take the time to go to that exercise class, go for a walk, go for a run, do a strength workout, it makes you want to do other things that are good for you, good for your body. Try it out. Again, this might be a mental flip from thinking of exercise as something that, again, we should do or we need to do to fix ourselves. I want us to let go of thoughts connected to that. And yep, they're going to pop up if this has been your experience as well. But instead of focusing on, I don't like the way this looks or feels. Instead of doing that, we're going to say, I feel so good when I'm taking care of my body in this way. I feel so good. I feel like I'm getting stronger. I feel like I'm more calm. I feel like I have better energy. Focus on those parts of it. And that is going to pull you, like I said, into other self-care behaviors that have you seeing yourself as important and worthy of taking care, right? You are worth taking care of. You always have been, but we have been taught to neglect ourselves in that way, including the needs of our bodies. And our bodies are designed to move. So let's do what's good for us. All right. A tag on to that is that exercise is great boundaries practice. When we are moving our bodies, we are focusing time in our day and energy in our day on ourselves. Now, we may be going to a class, we may be going for a walk with someone else, we might be in community with other people, but we are practicing doing something that does not really directly benefit other humans, right? Even if you are going out for a walk with another human, you aren't walking, I'm guessing, primarily for their benefit. You're probably walking because this is a good idea for you too. So you're putting your inbox down, right? You are not serving your kids a snack. You are not filling out endless papers, right? You are separating yourself from other people's needs when you are taking the time to take care of your body. And that's really important. And for people who struggle with people pleasing, this is a great place to start, because my guess is that if you tell someone that you can't help them right now because you're going to go out for a walk or you're going to do some exercise or you can't make it to their party or something because of that, people are not going to be upset with you generally for choosing to exercise, right? We don't see that as a flippant, selfish thing. Now, they might wonder why you're doing it at the time of their party. That was a weird example I gave, but people recognize the need to exercise. And I can't think of a single instance where somebody has been accused of being selfish for wanting to be active. I may not be thinking of something that will come to me later, but it's great boundaries practice because people are generally not going to fight with you about it. Like, oh, okay, all right, you're going to go exercise. Okay, well, that's important. Third thing that I want you to consider about the short-term gains from exercise is that it is a great time to either fill your social cup or recharge your social cup. So what do I mean by this? I am more on the introverted side. Now, I can definitely extrovert. I can definitely get connections from people one-on-one or in groups, but I also need quiet recharge time. And quiet recharge time is particularly difficult in my household right now because I have two very talkative children who want to tell me all the things all the time about computers, airplanes, including and especially airplanes from World War II, random facts and trivia that they have read. There is a lot of chatter in my house, and part of my waking up early to exercise is that I get a great warm-up period for a solid hour before they are awake, because I wake up before they do, where I don't have to talk to anybody. I get some nice quiet time. And yes, I'm usually listening to a podcast, but that is an engaging and curious experience for my brain, right? Because I get to listen to some interesting ideas. Like I said, I have lots of thoughts. I'll often pause and, write little notes in my phone or, just reflect on something that's going well or something I'm interested or curious in. It is time that I take to recharge my social battery in relative quiet and peace, and no one needs me at that time. And so that is me recharging my social battery. For people who are more extroverted and need more social engagement, right? Move your body with other people. Go take an exercise class in a group. Go for a run with a friend or on a great hike, right? And catch up with someone you haven't seen for a while. Make it a date night thing. Take your kids, right? There's lots of different ways that you can couple physical activity with spending quality time with people, right? It's another great choice. If you are familiar with the term forest bathing, right, that is another recharge your social battery activity where we have been shown to get health benefits, right, from being out in nature, particularly, in a wooded area. That's a really interesting science thing if you ever want to geek out and go down that rabbit hole. But again, think about, that incredible solitude really stimulating all of the goodness going back into your social battery. So whether you need to couple activity with spending time with other people, and that's really meaningful to you, or if you need the relative quiet and peace of moving your body by yourself, embrace that. Accept that as a wonderful time to get that social need met, right? Whether that social need is more people or that social need is less people, right? There's plenty of us out there. Consider the benefits of coupling that with moving your body. All right, so we've hit on 3 short-term benefits to exercise or physical activity that are likely to be more motivating and help you build and maintain an activity habit if you would like to do so, that are much more positive, much more uplifting, and much more tangible than, kind of traditional ways that we think about exercise. And again, we also don't need to be thinking about our 100-year-old self and all the long-term benefits. We get those benefits anyway by engaging with these short-term wins. So again, those things are, you're going to feel good even if you're tired and sore, right? It feels good to move our bodies, and we very rarely regret, again, unless we go too hard, right? Don't do that. Don't say, well, I used to run 20 miles, so obviously I should be able to run 5 if you haven't run in years. Don't do it. Number 2, when we take the time to exercise and take care of our bodies, that helps to beget other self-care practices for ourselves. And special tagline there that it is a great way for people who struggle with boundaries to start setting boundaries. Boundaries around your time, boundaries around your energy, boundaries with other people of like, nope, I can't do that because, that's the time that I go out for my run. That's the time that I have my exercise class. I have to leave work at a certain time today because I've got to go catch that class, or I'm going for a walk with my husband, right? Great way to practice boundaries without too much pushback. And number 3, a great way to fill your social battery if you're catching up with someone that you would like to spend time with, or to recharge your social battery so that you're ready to face whatever social obligations and interactions you are going to have in your day. My friends, I hope that has been a helpful reframing. As I have shared in the other episodes that have come out this month, where we are talking about themes from basically the 4 pillars of obesity medicine, which are 4 of the 6, I think, of lifestyle medicine, right? There's a lot of overlap, but basically some time spent thinking about nutrition, physical activity, sleep, and next week we're going to talk about stress. All right, I hope you'll tune in. As always, thank you so much for your attention. And until next time, take care.